all worth it.
EULCS versus LCK, David and Goliath.
A SKT é mais uma vez campeã do Mid-Season Invitational!
And SKT are once again the champion!
Berlin, Germany, 2018 MSI Group Stage.
Flash Wolves undefeated.
Fnatic will send themselves out their stage.
Fnatic finds disaster! And RNG will move on to the final. J'ai nommé in a return to form victory over Flash Wolves. S'il vous plaît, un tonnerre d'applaudissements pour les Kings of Dragon X. Ils n'ont pas cessé de grandir tout du long de ce tournoi. Et ils viennent maintenant sous leur forme finale pour poursuivre l'héritage coréen. S'il vous plaît, une fois de plus pour les Kings of Dragon X.
Il est maintenant temps d'accueillir leurs adversaires, les Royal Never Give Up. Ils nous ont proposé un excellentissime tournoi et ils sortent d'une demi-finale contre des Fnatic sans avoir concédé un seul match. Ils viennent ici pour apporter à la région chinoise son deuxième titre du MSI. Une autre salle d'applaudissements, s'il vous plaît, pour le Royal!
Sur la top lane, deux adversaires. Il s'agit de Lakshmi. Son opposant sera du côté Kingzone, Khan.
Et dans la jungle, côté Royal Never Give Up, un tonnerre d'applaudissements pour Karsa! Son adversaire sera le prodige coréen, Peanut!
Sur la mid lane, un duel de monstres. Côté chinois, Xia Hu. Et pour les Kingzone, bien entendu, PDD.
Au poste là des carries, le duel du jour verra s'opposer côté royal. Et son adversaire sera le vétéran
Et afin de les soutenir, il s'agit côté RNG de Ming. Qui jouera face Gorilla.
Et enfin, nous vous demandons s'il vous plaît d'applaudir le coach et le support de chaque et le remplaçant, excusez-moi, de chaque équipe. Côté RNG, Hurt et MLXG. Et du côté des Kingzone, Haxin et Kaz.
S'il vous plaît, le Zénith, pour les deux équipes de la grande finale, faites du bruit!
늘 이제 LCK 팀들은 결승은 항상 왔었거든요.
Kingzone will take the 3-1 victory over Flash Wolves.
물론 이제 EDG가 한번 우승을 했었던 적은 있지만 그것 말고는 다 LCK, SKT 팀이 이겼는데
SK Telecom, they are your mid-season invitational champions.
Going through the crucible of the mid-season invitational, the best team in the world, SKT are once again the champions.
LCK하고 또 MSI 하면 사람들이 SKT를 기억하지 않나 생각해요. 그래서 이제 이번 MSI는 저희가 LCK는 SKT 말고 킹존도 있다라고 할 수 있는 대회인 것 같아요.
Frey winning the wing pickle comes across and gets revenge for the first 3 games.
我在很多次世界比赛中都输给了韩国队，然后如果能够在决赛中还战胜韩国队，我觉得就真的非常的棒。真的非常的讨厌第2名吧，因为我真的很想要拿第1名，而且这次我也感觉到我们是第1名。
就是 LCK 都是一个特别强赛区嘛，很少人在世界赛上面击败他们，所以我觉得这就是对大家证明，就韩国队也不是无敌的嘛。
Having Fnatic is so high tempo, but Karsa will again snipe the objective away.
피앙 선수가 SKT 유니폼을 입고 약간 그런 우승을 했던 트로피를 올리고 있던 그런 사진들이 나오는데 이번에는 SKT가 아닌 킹존 자켓을 입고 다 같이 좀 트로피를 들고 있는 그런 모습으로 좀 나왔으면 좋겠어요.
What an opening ceremony. The entire arena vibrating underneath our feet as only one defending MSI champion stands on that stage. And I think that's something to remember, that for all of them there, this is a huge, huge moment.
Even for Peanut, it was such a different scene on SKT where he was a cog in a bigger machine. Here, he is the shot caller in many ways in that early game especially. They rely on his international experience. He needs to perform.
I love that trip down memory lane as well, seeing all those kind of high intensity and action-packed and critical moments in past MSIs.
And it goes back even 5 years into the past for Uzi losing to Koreans in finals or in important moments. 2013, he lost to SKT in the finals. 2014, he lost to Samsung in the finals. The last 2 years, he's been eliminated by SKT in the finals. It's got to be nice to look across and not see SKT if you're Uzi.
Yeah, he was 15 years old when he first had to stand across from Faker and in a packed Staples Arena.
A different time.
Can you imagine, though, having that repeated record that you're constantly measured to the best player in the world? I mean, at the time, we didn't know that Faker would be Faker and that Uzi would be Uzi. And just to see the trajectory that both their careers have taken since that fateful moment.
And 5 years later, here we are standing saying that perhaps Uzi is now the best player in the world.
Faker's the best of all time,
the best
for
of all
sure.
time. Yes, no, understood. I'm saying that's why I said now. I very much specified. I used the word now so I don't get eviscerated on the internet. While Uzi has had a monstrous performance this tournament, it's really enabled by the style that RNG has crafted around him.
And all the way back until 2014, they named this style Raise the Puppy, and it has come back into full fruition in this tournament specifically. Domestically, the LPL, RNG, they like to play the 1-3-1. It was about their solo laners, and then Uzi was just that late game insurance policy. At MSI, Uzi says, no, this tournament is mine. I am the best player in the world. I am at my peak performance right now, and I am going to lift this trophy.
Yeah, and you actually do get to pick a little bit who gets the gold on your team. The best stat we have for this, I think, is CS percentage from 15 to 30 minutes. And this is where you really see how committed RNG is to giving gold to Uzi. You can see he gets 37% of that CS. It's only 1% less than his top lane, jungle, and support combined. So he is taking the lion's share of that farm.
And whenever you see them pick up the first turret, you best believe Uzi's getting that bonus gold, getting towards his items early. I love the fact that here from the Kingzone side, you see the 7% extra that Uzi gets over Prey. It's going to Khan on the top side. So there's definitely trades happening. You've only got 100% to work with.
And also watch how they acquire this farm and this gold lead for Uzi. Watch MLXG or Karsa, watch Ming. They act as a secret service, if you will, an escort, leading him from lane to lane, making sure that he's safe to pick up these resources before grouping into the flying V and looking for the team fight.
Yeah, exactly. The CS is only part of the story. Uzi actually gets to 10,000 gold on average at 23 minutes and 12 seconds. Go into your solo queue games and see when you get 10,000 gold. It's usually a lot later. The tournament average is actually 1 minute and 9 seconds slower than Uzi for 80 carries. So he is way more farmed than
That's absolutely insane that he's hitting item spikes at the times that he is. And while Kingzone need Prey and Gorilla to keep up with Uzi and Ming's pressure, Let Me will need to do the same to deal with Kingzone's pressure on the top side of the map.
Yeah, all the setups are reversed in many ways. You look at BDD and Peanut. It's the trio, BDD, Peanut, and Khan, that try to set up Khan for success. He's kind of the one that needs to be the shoulder. We already saw the gold numbers. He's definitely the one that they set up around.
And we've seen it a couple of different ways for Kingzone as well. When we saw them win in the LCK finals, we saw Khan generally on tank picks, with Prey being the carry on Kaiser. So we thought, hey, maybe they'll be able to play anyway. But once they started struggling in this tournament, when their backs were against the wall yesterday against Flash Wolves, they pulled out Jace. They committed to the top lane strategy, and that is when Kingzone is at their best.
But even when he's not on the Jace, I love the Cho'Gath pick that we saw from Khan, because he still almost plays it like an assassin.
Yes.
He understands that his responsibility is just to shut down the ADC, and he found Betty every single time in those team fights.
Tales of two different teams. For Kingzone, it's all up in the top side. For RNG, it's all about that bot lane with the final, or rather with the final just moments away. I want to gather each team's win conditions from the regional experts. So we're going to start with RNG. Frostgrade, hit me.
Okay, so the first thing is you need to have bot river priority. Now, what I mean by this is that Xiaohu, Karsa, MLXG, whoever it is, they need to be able to rotate into the bottom side river before BDD gets there. Not only does that make sure that BDD and Peanut can't spread their influence across the map, but most importantly, it's their second win condition, which is Uzi. He is a late game scaling insurance policy. I want a champion that hyper scales. I want the Ezreal, I want the Kog'Maw, I want the Caitlyn, I want the Kai'Sa. Give me something like that. And then finally, hard engage. Once Uzi is ready, once they've protected him through the early game, they need to have multiple forms of hard CC. Give me the Rakons, give me the Orns, so they can force those team fights and use his strength.
All right, it's been laid out for RNG. Papa, what do you got for Kingzone?
It's just a one thing. It's a multi-part point, but it's get Khan ahead. That's what they need to do. And on a simple level, we're thinking of the Jace, we're thinking of the Camille, maybe even Gangplank into a tank, get him a favorable matchup where he can do turret damage. But the setup to actually get Khan ahead as a bullet point is multifaceted. In the mid lane and jungle, strong skirmishing jungle and mid lane. You need a pushing with the Talia and a Graves, for example, so you can push and roam top. So that happened the Jace game yesterday. Also a fighting advantage. Maybe you go for the Aurelia pick again, kill the enemy mid laner. Then you definitely have the upwards trajectory. On the bot side, someone has to give it up. Ezreal, Tom, Kenja, defensive bot lane. That probably has to be the way because they want to be sending their resources top. But as a very simple message, I think Kingzone win this series in the one, and that means in Khan. That doesn't necessarily mean solo killing. I just mean he gets the extra gold. He's taking turrets. He's forcing RNG to make those fights happen, because if they actually need him to teleport in, if it's an even 5v5, I think in the 5, RNG win.
And I think what's interesting about both of these win conditions, they're constrained to different sides of the map. And so often, it is partially about how well your carries do, but sometimes it's more about how well you prevent the enemy team from pulling that off. When we saw Samsung take down Faker in the World Championship, it was with a triple Malzahar pick that limited Faker's influence over the game. So what I really want to see is how they choose to match this. How does Kingzone not play around bot lane while not letting Uzi get going? And likewise, how would Let Me actually slow down Khan and the Kingzone machine?
It's about the support staff. You know, it's about Let Me and Xiaohu putting up that goalie defense or that red zone defense across from BDD and Khan. And it's about Prey and Gorilla, famously known for their ability to not demand any resources to be left alone on an island. And now the question is, who's going to crack first to whose style? Who will bend to whose will? Will you have to dig out Prey and Gorilla because Uzi and Ming are just too much? Or will Khan be able to run away because Peanut's able to dedicate so much time to him?
Now, win conditions are one thing. Who's going to win is entirely different. So it's time to address the question on everybody's mind. Who will be the new MSI champion? Jat, we're going to start down on that end.
Unlucky.
I'm so excited to watch this game, is what I'll start with. And I also think it's so interesting how RNG, the LPL team, is seen as the late game team, where the LCK and Kingzone is seen as that early game team that needs to get ahead to get pressure. And when the pressure is on so much throughout League of Legends history, usually the late game team wins. There are rare exceptions. And because I think this is such an even match, when the pressure's on, both of these 80 carries looking to get their first international tournament win, I think RNG has a slight edge, and I'll go with them 3-2.
Wow, there it is from Jap. Papa Smithy, what are you thinking?
I think it's a really interesting one. I think for the first time in 1,106 days, there really is a shot that we will see a non-Korean representative team come through. I'm still picking Kingzone, but I'm going 3-2. And the reason why I'm right there, the reason why I'm not sure, and the reason why I give them this slight edge is that I feel like from what we've seen, I think Kingzone matched up super well against RNG. I do have these intangibles. I do have these questions of what is RNG not showing? What can they show? But I need to focus on what I see. I focused on what I saw from Samsung, predicted them over SKT. I'm focusing on what I see from Kingzone, predicting them to win.
And for me, I'm actually going to align with Jat. I'm going to go RNG for a 3-2. If I truly believe that Uzi is the best player in the world right now, then he needs to prove what Faker has already done, that you can look across from your opponents, that you can hard carry your team, and that you can be the difference in a very close matchup. Now, RNG are the best team in the world right now at playing from behind, and even if Kingzone do get those snowballed victories, I have to have faith that their defense will hold strong and that Uzi will define his career today.
All right, well, there you have it. The last time the LPL took down the LCK here on the MSI stage, it was a 5-game series, and either way, whichever way the chips fall, all three of my analysts have declared this will be a 5-game series. So with that, we're going to toss it right back up to our three casters to kick off Game 1.
Thank you very much, Dash, and welcome back. QuickShot, Kobe, and Deficio bringing you Game 1 of the 2018 MSI Championship title fight. Hopefully 5 games.
Oh, yeah.
One thing is for sure, a new champion will hoist that trophy. And we genuinely don't know which team it's going to be.
And that's the awesome thing. We talked about this before when we had a brief chat here on the cast of this, about how this might be the best chance for RNG to win the title on this massive winning streak in an 80 carry meta with Uzi performing. Like, it's now or never almost.
And the reason it's so interesting is because they are coming at it from different angles, different styles from these two teams. And the style that RNG have been playing, the defense style, has been the most difficult. Not many teams have been able to play good defense at this tournament.
Well, they have, and that is why RNG are on the 9-game winning streak that has got them here to the final. We're about to jump into picks and bans, gentlemen. The champions on my mind, Irelia, question mark, Ezreal, question mark, what else?
Carry top laners like Camille also, because if you are RNG, you want to follow your strategy from what we saw against Fnatic, where you want to make sure that Let.Me is in a tank versus tank matchup top lane. So remove some carries from Khan, and you take away one of the big win conditions for Kingzone.
Got a good stat for you, Deficio. Khan has played the most unique